Welcome, everyone, to the Culinary Now podcast. I'm Jaime Schick, and today I am solo, but I do have a wonderful guest. It's our colleague, me and Matt's colleague, Cassie Rehm, who just joined the university this year, and we are so excited to, one, have you a part of our teaching team, and two, have you on the pod today, because today we're talking all things pizza, which I'm excited to dive into. But first things first, I'm going to hand it over to you so you can introduce yourself.
Thanks, Jamie. I'm so excited to talk about pizza today. So I am a new instructor here at Johnson Wales University. I have a pretty lengthy background, but I'm a pretty big bread head. Baguettes, sourdough, pizzas, anything of that nature, I am your gal. I'm also alumni of Johnson Wales. So I graduated in 2014 with my bachelor's degree in baking and pastry. I was part of that 4-year program. And I've spent time in and around Providence helping open bakeries, being a private chef, and just getting as much time and field as I can. I've spent the last 6 years at a really large local bakery here in the city, and I am excited to be part of the JWU fam as an instructor and start sharing all of the knowledge that I've gained to our next generation of great bakers. So happy to be here and happy to be sitting with you today.
Awesome. I think that your story could probably be a podcast in its own because I know that you're so multifaceted. I know lately, like you said, it has been very bread focused. So today we'll
Mm,
stick on topic and we'll talk about pizza, but I know one day we're going to get you back on and we're going to dive into your
yeah,
story. So
the story
all
of
right, so
being a salty dog. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So starting with pizza, I'm going to go right to the source because I think what is pizza? So I'm going to ask Merriam-Webster what they define as pizza, and
Mm,
their definition is a dish made typically of flattened bread dough spread with a savory mixture, usually including tomatoes and cheese and often other toppings, and baked. I think that pretty much sums up what a classic pizza is, but we also know that there's a bunch of styles of pizza out there.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
being in Rhode Island, they do have their own specific style of pizza.
Yeah, Rhode Islanders are really intense. They have something called a pizza strip, which
Yeah.
are very similar to the definition that the great Merriam-Webster is providing for us. But pizza strips here in Rhode Island don't have cheese on them. They're very thin, rectangular slices that you can grab quick on the go from like local mom and pop shops. And it's really some classic pizza dough and a solid marinara. And they sell the strips cold and people just are really passionate about their pizza strips. I myself prefer cheese on my pizza, so I don't typically run for a pizza strip. But Rhode Islanders, especially when you're over on the hill, they live or die and buy their pizza.
Yeah, I was really thrown off the first time I had a Rhode Island style like cold pizza strip. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, like someone brought in for a potluck and they brought in the box. They said I just picked these up and I'm like, it's cold and where's the cheese? Like I was so confused. Yeah, I was so confused. But I think this also goes to show that there are like different regions and even different states have different styles of pizza. We know that there's like Detroit style, Chicago deep dish. There is deep dish on its own style pizza, focaccia style pizza. There is
Hmm.
thin crust. And then we get into
Hmm.
like things like Ne- uh, Neapolitan style pizza, Sicilian style pizza. There's even New York pizza where it's all like drippy and like super not
Hmm.
sturdy. Like so many different styles. Is there a style that you tend to prefer or lean towards? And then we'll dive into like each of the components too.
Yeah, my favorite style pizza is more on the thin crust side. And I like it so when I fold, I am a folder. I am a pizza slice folder. And I feel like that puts me in a very specific region of the country when I
It
say that,
it
very
does.
northeast. I like my slices where I can fold it over and it can hold when I'm ready to go in for a bite. I'm not a big fan of the droopy slice. I like a little bit of structure so I can fold it and get in there. Beauty of pizza is that you can, kind of grab it on the go, unless you're going for that Chicago deep dish. And that's when I truly feel like you need a fork and a knife to have
Oh, definitely.
that slice with. Yeah.
For sure. I So when you're saying you're folding it over, to me, I'm thinking, does that then make it a calzone? Does that make it a sandwich? Or is it still pizza even though it's folded over?
Yeah, and then that becomes the question: is a hot dog a sandwich? You know what I mean? And
Yes, we
then we
have
start
discussed
World War
this on
Three.
this pod before. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. I don't think it makes it a calzone or a sandwich because when it's in its natural state before the human picks it up, it's defining what the Webster Dictionary says: a thin dough with a sauce and a cheese and maybe a topping, and it's perfectly triangle when I pick up the slice. But what the human does to like bring it to their mouths to enjoy it, I think that's up to them. I don't think it takes away from the nature of what a pizza is at its form.
Said like a true professional. I love it. All right, when we're talking pizza, we're talking dough.
Yeah.
I like a dough that's I like one that's got a little bit of chew to it and has some flavor. I don't like a bland pizza dough that's just
Mm-hmm.
there for the toppings. I do think toppings are important and we're going to get to that. But when we're talking dough, what do you think makes a really really good pizza dough? Do we need to have some type of starter and an overnight like
Mm.
fermentation or can we go to like a quick hey, I want pizza right now. I got to get this thing going. Can we go to a quick one? Like what do you think makes our best pizza dough?
It's such a great question that you're asking. So, I was gifted a pizza oven for Christmas. So, I
Mm.
currently have quite a few different types of pizza dough in my fridge right now that I'm currently working on honing in. And I am a huge fan of like pizza shouldn't be something that you have to think about days in advance. I like that I can mix a dough quickly and like in 2 hours have it ready to go. But if I can have that pizza dough sit in the fridge for a day or two, and we can have some additional flavor profiles start to form as a result of creating different acids in the dough. That's the chef hat staying on here. Then you can have a much more flavorful crust. I also think just really playing with quality ingredients, good olive oil, some good salt, fresh flour, you really can't go wrong. But I'm a big fan. If I can like plan ahead, I will let my pizza dough sit in the fridge for a day or two and just develop some really in-depth flavors without necessarily needing a sourdough starter to kick that off. And then it provides just much better extensibility. So when I'm rolling it out, the dough also isn't fighting me, and then I have an uneven crust. That's what I like to do.
So you're a roller, you're not like a hand like tosser
I
stretcher.
I start as a roller, and then I let once I roll it out and I start to see that it's like contracting on me, I'll forget about it for a few minutes and then I'll pick it up and I'll start working on my flip. I have a very Italian partner. He's from the Rhode Island, North Providence area. They take their pizza very seriously. So I try not to flip when he's around because I don't want to be judged. But I am honing in on a good spin flip because I feel like it does help keep the dough from getting too thin in the middle and too thick on the outside. And it's a nice little like dinner party, flair. You have people over, you got a pizza oven, you're having a beer or two, and then you're like, watch me spin this pizza around. And then you get the oohs and ahs, and you're like, yeah, that's very satisfying. Who doesn't love a little
Mm.
recognition?
Yeah, it's like that tableside service. I love it.
Tableside guac, tableside pizza dough. Yeah.
All right, so we've got our pizza dough. We
Yep.
got it where we want it, and now we're looking at sauce. Now, we know that Merriam-Webster is saying it should be a tomato-based sauce, which we're all thinking probably like a marinara style, but technically barbecue sauce is tomato-based. So how do we feel about our sauce? And should it be sweet? Should it be acidic? Is a creamy like Alfredo
Mm.
sauce okay? Do we keep it classic?
Yeah. I love a solid tomato sauce, but I also love a white pizza. So if it
Yeah.
had a cream sauce base or an Alfredo base, I don't discriminate at all. Because then you can add some ricotta and you get some tang. I think it all depends on how you want the pizza to finish. If I want a pepperoni pizza, I'll probably stick with a solid marinara. But if I'm thinking of I want ricotta and maybe some Italian sausage, I may want to go for like a white pizza and then throw some slices of tomato on top and then get that acidity from there. And then there's something to be said about how much of that you're putting on your dough. Like, I'm not going to put a pasta serving's worth of Alfredo sauce on a pizza dough. I'm going to put maybe a few ounces and spread it nice and thin so you can see that caramelize and reduce down. So it's still very tender, but not super soupy on your pizza because that can also make for not good eats.
Yeah, I feel like if
What
you
are your
put too
thoughts?
much sauce I feel like if you put too much sauce, your dough won't cook properly and it'll be like still raw under if you like glob
Hmm.
on. your sauce.
Yeah,
I
I did that. I
I
did
I do.
All right, so if the internet isn't aware of this, this is my first time doing a recording and we're just learning together. Before Jamie takes it away, I will say the first night I worked with this oven over our Christmas break, I got real excited with my sauce ratio. And then when I put the pizza in the oven, I ended up having too much sauce when I went to go throw my pizza peel in to rotate it, and it just it just came out all over on my brand new pizza stone. And after having a mini heart attack and watching it burn off so I could clean the stone, I then told myself I need to be more on top of it, with no pun intended, on making sure that I didn't have too much sauce.
Yeah, that no, that's a really, really good tip because I didn't think about actually needing to spin it in the oven. So watching the amount of
Mm,
sauce and otherwise all your toppings could slide off as well. Like all your cheese could go flying and
hmm
that would be terrible.
A
I do think
travesty.
for me, exactly. I do think for me, I don't want my pizza sauce to be too far on either end of the spectrum. I don't want it to be, if we're going classic
Mm,
pizza, I'm good with a white pizza. I'm good with barbecue sauce. I I love a breakfast pizza. Like I really love all forms. So
mm.
I don't want it to be too sweet or too acidic. I kind of like a nice balance right in the middle because I think then it's lending itself to enhance the other toppings and not take away. Because sometimes if it's too acidic, that's all I can really taste. And then if it's too sweet, I'm
hmm
distracted by that. So I think sauce is important, but also should be kind of neutral and used as like an enhancement to all of the other ingredients.
Yeah, it should almost be complementary so it doesn't overpower whatever you want to put on top of it.
We're going to pause real quick for an ad. We'll be back to talk all things cheese. All right, and now to the cheese. We've talked about dough, we've talked about sauce. We're building this pizza. We're into cheese. Now,
Mm,
we know that cheese, classic is mozzarella. They sell it shredded in the grocery store, super convenient, but it does have a anti-caking agent in it. I'm kind of okay with that in a hurry. I'm not against it, but
mm.
also like we could go as far as making our own mozzarella, but I think there's probably a middle ground in there too. So what are your thoughts on cheese?
I love cheese. I think it's an essential food group. It
Mhm.
should be part of every meal. I'll never say no to a cheese-focused anything. Uh, I I'm not against shredded cheese either. I think there's a place for it, especially a convenience. I am not going to spend the time to make my own mozzarella. My life is just a little too busy for that. I do. I I am also happy to get like full balls of mozzarella in its brine
Yeah.
or packaged as such and then shred it myself. Because I mean, the mozzarella or a burrata is pretty easy. You can shred it, you can have your child shred it for you as you're prepping other things. You really don't need like a knife for it, it just peels apart really easily. And I think it's part of the fun of all of the preparation needed to make a pizza because then you're like, oh, this piece is going to be super melty, and this I'm going to put on the edge of the crust so it gets all nice and burnt. But also, you can go beyond mozzarella too, right? There are so many other cheeses you can get into to make pizza.
Yeah, I don't mind a cheddar mixed in if I'm doing like a barbecue chicken style pizza.
hmm
And I think that again, it goes back to my toppings because cheddar would be a little bit more sharp than mozzarella is
hmm
very, very neutral and creamy, but mozzarella is classic. So I I think it all depends on what your final end product is. Like if I'm just going to put basil into a margarita style pizza, I'm going to go classic fresh mozzarella balls, sliced or
All day.
torn, and keep it there, you know? But if I'm going to do barbecue chicken, I'm probably going to go cheddar. And if I'm doing like
hmm
Alfredo, I'll probably get some super sharpness from a nice parm in there. So, I mean, I'm with you. I love
Perfect.
all things cheese, big fan of cheese through and through. And
Mm.
I mean, even I don't like blue cheese, but I can see its point on a pizza. If we're doing like a fig and prosciutto style pizza, I could see like a blue cheese or like ricotta would be really good
hmm
on there. So I'm with you. Like mozzarella is classic, but I'm open to anything anyone wants to try to put on a pizza. Which kind of leads me to some of these crazy pizza toppings.
Yeah,
Like
amen.
there's there's pickle pizza. There's the hot pineapple debate, which we'll get into if it belongs on pizza. But there's There's pickle pizzas out there. There's curry pizzas. My husband just got a gochujang chicken pizza from a place right down the street from us that we got for takeout. People are putting anything and everything on pizza, even dessert pizzas.
Yeah, yeah. I will say real quick, pickle pizzas are kind of where it's at. That's kind of a running joke in my family. I had an uncle that like fought really hard at a local pizzeria where I'm from originally in Massachusetts for them to add a pickle pizza to their menu, and it it slaps. It's something about the brininess with the cheese and the dough that I'm like I'm confused, but I'm happy it's here and I do enjoy a good well done pickle pizza. And dessert pizzas, we could talk about that forever too.
You hit on something with that pickle pizza. It's like we haven't even talked about how pizza has it's like umami, it's salty, it could be sweet, it's got lots of texture. It's one of those craveable foods, and we know
Yeah.
that when we can get multiple tastes into a food and then multiple textures, it's something that we're not going to be able to stop eating. And everyone loves pizza. Like very few people just eat a singular slice of pizza. It's usually multiple.
Hmm.
And when we're talking pickles, then we're adding in the salty brine, the acidity. Like we're really getting like an umami bomb situation with a pickle pizza. But yes, let's talk dessert pizza for a minute. Let's
Of course. Oh, where do you want to begin? Do we start with a short crust or do we start with croissant dough? Where do you take it?
Oh my gosh. Whoa, I start with literal pizza dough. Okay, we've got some things to unpack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, pizza dough. Let's talk about that. It is such a
No, let's talk
nice
about your
canvas
thing.
to
Oh my
where you
gosh.
can get crazy with it. So, in my experience at my last bakery, if we would have leftover croissant dough, we would either make savory or sweet pizzas with it, just because you get that nice flaky buttery. You're talking about that umami bomb. More of umami flavored, delicious platform base than a croissant dough? So we would take croissant doughs and then say if we wanted to get real wild with it, you could take some ganache, or you can get like a babka fill up in there, maybe a little frangipan action, and then you can top it with whatever frozen fruit you have available, and then just garnish with a little bit of icing or a melted chocolate, and then just have a moment with a delicious dessert pizza.
I am having a moment with your description of that right now. My mind is like
Mm.
blown. Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Whenever I've done dessert pizza, I always start with actual pizza dough because I usually
Well,
make
that
it
makes sense.
when I've got like a little extra and I'm like, that's not big enough for a pizza, let's make dessert. But it's also
Hmm.
super neutral, so it doesn't make it too sweet with whatever we're
Yes.
putting on top, whether it's like jam or even just butter, cinnamon, sugar type of fried
Ugh.
dough style situation. Oh, I never. That's such a good use for extra croissant dough too. Wow.
Yeah, or even if you had some pat sucre dough hanging around and you
Hmm.
wanted to essentially make a very, very thin tart, where you don't have to hold it in any sort of tart shape or pie pan. You can just go real thin and like do a curd, like a cranberry curd or something, and get some tartness up in there and then finish it with something fun. Pizza's a spectrum. It's a wheel.
Yeah, it is a wheel. In most cases.
In most cases, actually, yes.
Okay, so if we're looking outside of dessert pizza, like I could see
Mhm.
pineapple on a dessert pizza. Where do you stand on this hot topic of is pineapple a savory pizza topping or not?
If it is the only pizza available at the party, I will have a slice. It is not something when I see on the menu, I don't search for it when I'm at a pizza joint. When I'm thinking about making pizza here, it's not an ingredient I think about at all. I see it has a place. Like when we're talking about acidity in a marinara, and we want something to help cut that or help balance it. A roasted little piece of pineapple is definitely going to help cut through that with its sweetness and its texture and the moisture it provides. So I get it. I get it. You'll never see me purchase a slice. But again, if I am at a birthday party for my niece and there was a pineapple pizza because she's obsessed, sure, I'll do it. I'll fulfill my auntie's patriotic duty. But I don't, not a stan. I can appreciate, not a stan. Where do you fall on that spectrum? I have a feeling you're
Oh my
into it.
gosh. Yeah, I'm the total opposite. I used to a long time ago, I used to seek
That's
out
funny.
pineapple as my topping. Like because at the time I didn't eat ham. I've recently come over to the pork world. I say recently, it's probably
Mm,
been 5 to 7 years now that I've moved into the pork consumption side of my life. But I used to just get pineapple pizza because I didn't do ham, and so I didn't want the Hawaiian. But then once like I
mm,
started eating pork, and it's like, ooh, you get the salty pork, you get the sweet acidic pineapple, and then all of the other umami pizza situation. I'm
yes.
so into it. So into it. So I love it. I love it. I pineapple on its own or pineapple in a Hawaiian with ham situation. I the one thing I don't like though, if we're talking Hawaiian style, is sometimes people do bacon in a Hawaiian pizza, and
Mm,
I don't like bacon as the pork product in my Hawaiian pizza. I like it to be actual ham.
yeah, I'm in agreement with you there because I think the ham plays a different role than what crispy little pieces of bacon would do. I feel like the bacon would compete with the pineapple too much as to where the ham could play alongside the pineapple to give you that really nice sweet umami bite. Yeah, I'm in line with you there. I definitely get it. I even think prosciutto would be a little too much too. I think ham is kind of where you got to be.
Yeah, it's classic. And now that we're talking about this, I'm thinking back to growing up. We would definitely eat ham steaks with Dole canned rings of pineapple for dinner. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if that combo, like, obviously everyone loves it, but I'm wondering if like I love it because it brings back like some childhood memories now that I'm thinking this out a little bit more. Maybe,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
pizza is definitely a food that has a nostalgia connection to it, right? Because it's probably something your parents picked up on the way home from soccer practice, or my mom growing up, she would get a pizza every Friday night because it was her Friday, it was our Friday, and we would always get half cheese, half buffalo chicken. And that was our go to for my sisters and my mom and I. So, like, when you make pizza, you have pizza, you can't help but think of the birthday parties you went to at Chuck E.
Yeah.
Cheese, maybe growing up, or local bowling alleys, and you just go, man, this pizza, like a good slice just takes you back to that moment. And then that's always why you kind of remember your favorite combinations, like Hawaiian, like ham steaks and sauteed Dole pineapple, like the can of pineapple. Like that just takes you right back to it too.
That's so true. It really is nostalgic. Like I think about the first time I had Chicago style pizza in Chicago, and I
Mm,
know who I was with, I know what I was doing, and the first time I had like a very authentic New York slice of pizza being in New York City, I can remember what I was doing, who I was with, and again we started the episode talking about the Rhode Island style pizza strips, and I can remember, and that was probably 5 years ago that I had those. But I can remember who brought it for us, what it was like, my thoughts, and it is, you're right, it's very, very nostalgic, and yeah, that could also feed into why we love it so much, besides all of the flavors and textures that go along with eating pizza, but yeah, that nostalgia. When we were writing this episode, I or writing the outline, I was thinking too along the lines of pizza and the different things you can do with it, and when I was working in industry,
mm.
we used to have holiday lunch, and it was only for 1 month a year. I would work that shift and I would make the breakfast staff meal, and I made so much breakfast pizza. Like literally I would crack eggs on my pizza and like par bake my pizza, pull it out, crack my eggs, put it back in, and it was a hit. I made it probably twice a week for the month
That's
that we
amazing.
had. Yeah. So it's like pizza really does span a lot of cuisines and toppings and
Yeah.
everything.
That's so funny that you say that. I was teaching a class last segment and we took our blitz dough, which is kind of a riff on a hand laminated croissant style product. and I had some leftover pasta sauce from a few days prior. And so I par-baked the blitz dough and then smeared some marinara down and then cracked the egg and then finished it. And we had it as our staff meal that afternoon when we were evaling our products. And I was like, look at how versatile it can be. But like breakfast pizza has a, like, yes, yes, breakfast and pizza, two of my favorite things together on a plate at the same time. I'm down. I want it.
Okay, to wrap us up, we've talked through all of the layers of pizza, but we haven't talked about what we're washing this down with. Ideal pizza beverage pairing, alcoholic or not, whatever you think.
I have two that immediately came to mind. Non-alcoholic, a crisp root beer or a Diet Coke. Something about the carbonation, and I think that plays into the nostalgia bit as well, is like my mom would pick up a pizza and then like a half a liter of soda, and that would be our treat. As of late, I am enjoying really crisp Pilsners from some breweries around the area. I live in a section of the Providence City that's just really like I can go anywhere and a quarter mile, and I have a few different breweries there. So picking up like a crisp Pilsner, I think helps wash that down. I also will never say no to champagne in pizza. My best friend and I will often do champagne and pizza dates,
Yep.
and that's our go-to. Again, I think it's just something about the bubbles and pizza
Yes.
that just is like a match made in harmony. And being an adult and being able to enjoy champagne with pizza is kind of, I think, peak adulthood in my very humble opinion.
I'm 100% with you on the champagne. It's something about the bubbles or sparkling wine.
Oh yes.
I don't need my bubbles to come from France, but yeah, something about that with pizza. I don't know if it makes it feel lighter, if it's different, if it oh my gosh, if it's a different sensation in my mouth, like the fizziness.
Yeah.
I which I also I love Fresca. I'm really into Fresca.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
that might be, like, too much flavor, so I might go Sprite or something if I was going non-alcoholic or even just water, but for me, I immediately went to a champagne or sparkling wine situation. I could see a red wine fitting in there too, but I don't know, the
Sure.
bubbles,
Yes.
man, the bubbles.
The bubbles, and I think it's peak girl dinner. Pizza and bubbles. You know, it's
I
like
mean, they
a
make
Caesar
everything
salad and
fancy.
French fries. Yeah,
Yes.
bubbles immediately changes. Caesar salad, French fries, pizza, bubbles. They're all in the same wheelhouse that I think of when I think of like a classic girl dinner. Something about the bubbles just makes pizza great. I think you're right. It makes it lighter, or it makes the experience while you're eating it feel lighter.
Yeah, it's pizza can be so casual that it also makes it feel special, fancy
Hmm.
when we have the special beverage, whether that's like champagne or root beer.
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah,
think
or a
that can
LaCroix.
help to yeah, exactly, exactly. Just makes a low quality like possible item a high quality experience.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's a state of mind. It's delicious.
Oh man. Okay, well, good thing I ate lunch before this because if I didn't, I would be like crawling to my kitchen to try to whip up a pizza right now.
Pizza real quick. Yeah, I'm actually thinking about should I make pizza tonight for dinner now that we're talking about it. And I think I'm gonna. So,
Well, I think that's a great idea. Um, thank you so much for chatting all things pizza with me today. It's been a pleasure. I had a lot of fun chatting about this with you.
I did too. Pizza's such a fun topic. Thanks for having me and thanks for putting me on the pod to talk about all delicious things.